You have never heard this story. Nobody told you. Nobody warned you it happened. But on one December evening in 1948, more than 3,000 people stepped onto a boat on a Chinese river. They were not soldiers, they were families running from a war that was swallowing their country whole. That boat never reached the other side. The explosion shook the entire city of Shanghai, and somehow the world never stopped to count the dead. To understand what happened on the Kiangya, you first have to understand what China looked like in December 1948. The country was tearing itself apart. For 3 years, a brutal civil war had been consuming everything. Nationalist forces on one side, communist forces on the other, and caught in the middle, millions of ordinary Chinese people who simply wanted to survive. By late 1948, the communists were winning. City after city was falling. The nationalist government was crumbling, and in Shanghai, one of China's greatest cities, a place of wealth and culture and commerce, people could feel what was coming. The ones who could leave were leaving. Shanghai's docks were chaos. Every boat, every ferry, every vessel that could carry human beings was packed beyond imagination. People carrying everything they owned, mothers with children on their backs, old men clutching documents and photographs, the only proof that their lives had existed. Merchants abandoning businesses built over decades, teachers, doctors, shopkeepers, all running, all terrified. The SS Kiangya was a modest river steamship, not built for the open ocean, built for the rivers and coastal waters of China, a working boat for working people. She had a legal capacity. Like every overcrowded vessel in every desperate moment in history, that capacity meant nothing on December 3, 1948. More than 3,000 people pushed onto a boat built for far fewer. Nobody turned anyone away. How could you turn someone away when the alternative was staying behind in a city about to fall? The Kiangya pulled away from the Shanghai dock in the late afternoon. The Huangpu River stretched ahead, gray, wide, cold in the December air. On the other side of this journey, Ningbo, safety, distance from the war. On the dock behind them, the city of Shanghai, already hearing the distant sounds of what was coming. The passengers did not look back. The Kiangya had been sailing for less than an hour. The sun was going down. The river was gray and cold. Families were settling in for the journey, finding spaces on the crowded deck, holding children close against the December chill, allowing themselves the first breath of relief they had felt in months. They had made it onto the boat. They were moving. They were going to be all right. Nobody on board knew what was sitting on the river bottom beneath them. 3 years earlier, 1945, the Second World War had ended in the Pacific. Japanese forces had retreated from China, but they had left something behind. Scattered across the rivers and coastal waters of China, thousands of naval mines, weapons designed to destroy ships, sitting silently on the bottom, waiting. The war had ended. The mines had not. The Kiangya passed directly over one. The explosion that followed was not like anything the passengers had ever experienced. It was not a sound first. It was a force, a wall of pressure that hit the entire ship simultaneously. The hull tore open from below. The deck buckled. Fire erupted instantly across the lower sections of the ship. In the city of Shanghai, miles away, people heard it, felt it, stopped what they were doing, and looked toward the river. On the Kiangya, there was no time to think, no time to find life jackets, no time to lower lifeboats. The ship had been overloaded, packed with 3,000 desperate people, and she was already breaking apart. The December river water was freezing. People went into it immediately, thrown by the explosion, falling from the collapsing deck, jumping to escape the fire spreading across the ship. 3,000 people in a cold Chinese river in December darkness, the ship breaking and burning above them. There were not enough lifeboats for a fraction of them. There never are. Rescue boats came from Shanghai. Chinese Navy vessels, fishing boats, civilian craft. Anyone who had a boat and heard that explosion came out onto the Huangpu River that December night. They pulled survivors from the water for hours. Cold, exhausted, traumatized people who had already survived a war. And now this. But the final count was impossible. The Kiangya carried refugees, people running from a war. Many had no documents. Many had given false names just to get on board. Many had simply pushed onto the boat in the chaos. No ticket, no record, no trace. Nobody knew exactly how many were on board. Nobody knows exactly how many died. Estimates range from 1,100 to over 3,000 dead. The true number, swallowed by a civil war and a country transforming overnight. Within weeks, Shanghai fell to communist forces. China became a different country. The new government had no interest in remembering a tragedy from the old regime. The Kiangya was simply forgotten. No memorial, no ceremony, no bell for the victims, because nobody even knew how many there were. Just a river and a silence where thousands of names should have been. If you were alive in December 1948, you were living through one of the most dramatic moments in human history. The Marshall Plan was rebuilding Europe. The Cold War was beginning. Israel had just become a nation. Gandhi had just been assassinated. The world was changing faster than anyone could follow. And in Shanghai, 3,000 people stepped onto a boat and never arrived. You never heard about it, not because it was not important, not because the lives lost were worth less than lives lost elsewhere, but because the world was too busy, because China was too far away, because the new Chinese government had no reason to remember, because refugees running from a civil war do not get the same memorials as passengers on famous ocean liners. History remembers what it chooses to remember, and it chose to forget the Kiangya. But here is what history cannot erase. No matter how many decades pass, no matter how many governments rise and fall, no matter how the world changes around it, 3,000 people woke up on December 3rd, 1948. They packed what they could carry. They said goodbye to the city where they had lived their lives. They pushed onto a crowded boat on a cold gray river, holding their children and their photographs and their hope. They deserved to arrive. They deserved to be counted. They deserved to be remembered. And now, finally, they are.